Welcome back to Alpha Bowhunting. I'm Phil Mendoza. It's time for a follow-up video on my custom build Hoyt Carbon Turbo with DFX cams. Check it out. So this is kind of a follow-up video to the initial video I put out on the custom build Hoyt Carbon Turbo with the DFX cams, the smooth DFX cams on a number 3 cam. And I've definitely put some rounds through this bow. I've messed around with some stabilizer setups. I've messed around with some sight setups, some arrow setups. I'm still playing with some peep setups. But it's turkey hunting season, and here in a couple days I'm going to be taking my son Dominic and my buddy Braden and I are going to Nebraska to chase some turkeys. So I'm going to give you a follow-up and kind of overview of where I settled on so far on this bow, what I like about this bow, and then I'll kind of go over an overview as to what it's doing. So first off, I'm still running the Hoyt factory strings. This set has been on the bow for 3 weeks or so, so I've put a handful of shots through it already. I'm still testing the peep, the Hamskea Insight peep. I've been shooting it since I got one, and then I just recently took it off about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, as I've been able to shoot outside more to get a before and after, and I'm going to be doing a follow-up video on that as to what I'm seeing, impact point, group size, and that kind of stuff. So that'll be on a later video on the Insight peep system. Still using the Hamskea Hybrid Hunter Pro. I went to the original contoured blade that used to come on the hunting blade that came on those. I really like that blade. I've not ever been a huge fan of the capture myself. I've told myself I was going to hunt with it, but I've used it very little. I'm just very comfortable drawing the bow back with this blade. So I do have the cord adjusted on a spring clamp, adjusted to the limb on the lower limb here. I went to the original style hammer with arrows and quiver configurations. I was playing with that. I just like the spring down here out of the way a little bit more, so that's why I did that. New on the bow, this has been on probably for I don't know, 10 days, maybe 2 weeks, is the Stoker Eyes Carbon Stasis. This is a 19-inch model. I took all the weights and shoved them on the front, and then I've just got another 6 stack of weights on the back here from just standard bee stinger weights, excuse me, and actually it's 5 right now. I took one off. So that's stabilizing pretty good. I really like the additional offset with the front and everything. I like it because it's actually, I'm able to use a little bit less weight than I have been on the bee stinger stuff, and it still seems to be stabilizing as good. Long range tests are still, I haven't been able to do as much long range shooting as I want to with this setup, but right now I've just been focusing on the broadhead and tuning portion of this bow as I'm getting ready for turkey hunting. So Fast Eddie XL, I ended up going with the 5-pin sight. I've been a 5-pin driver guy for years, and I'm used to that setup. So them offering this now is with the new ring system and everything. It's just that I like the sight. So the sight itself is very good. The only negative thing I think I've ever had a gripe on this sight is just the exposed gears, but understanding saving the weight, I'll take that penalty for now. And that's what I'm rolling with as far as equipment. I've got a 2-piece Hoyt quiver that I'm using, a 4-arrow right now that is actually just got shaker cans, so that's why it's not on the bow. So I painted it to match the bow. Other than that, tuning on this bow, with what we've seen customers in the shop last year, some of the 2 cams were tuning a little bit knock low. The 3 cams we didn't see that as much. It was fairly level. With this bow, I started shooting it through paper, got it close, and then I did some bare shaft tuning and got it dialed in to where it was, I mean, busting knocks at 20 yards with bare shaft. So I was very happy with how I went through that process. Didn't take that long. And got it dialed in. So then once I went to broadheads, I sighted it in, got to broadhead shooting, and I was still just a touch low at 40. So I adjusted the rest, and just last night actually got it dialed in. So very comfortable with my groups right now, out to 50 yards with the broadheads. And I'll show you You know, I've been playing right now so far with these Fatal Steel 100 grains from Grim Reaper. I've shot these in the past. Last year I actually shot the carnivores, which I was really impressed with at whitetail. But for turkey, this is what I'm going to run with. Like I said, it's just a 100 grain Fatal Steel from Grim Reaper, and the bow is grouping very well. It's shooting very well. I'm pleased with it. I've got it maxed out now. It's 76 and change pounds on this build. So that's where we're at. So I'm going to go ahead and clip over and show you, just kind of break down the specs and how everything's set up and some of the options on this bow on the whiteboard. All right, so I just want to overview again how some of the bow, some of the features, some of the specs, because it is a custom build, so it is a little bit differently. So once again, this is a turbo riser, the Hoyt Turbo riser with the number 3 DFX cams, and in this range, I have it. It's a 27.5 to 29.5 inch build as they put this together. This specific bow I got is a 75 pound max as well. So that build is available through the Hoyt custom shop. If you wanted to add that, it is an upcharge. Your specific pro shop will tell you what they're going to charge for that upcharge. I set it in the 28.5 position exactly. It's pulling 28 3/4 inch. These arrows right now are built at 488 grains. It's a 4-fletch AAE Pro Max, and again, I've got the Easton FMJ injections. 100 grain tips. I do have 2 inserts glued in the front of these arrows for a little bit added weight in the front. And again, at 76.2 pounds, I believe exactly what it was, I'm getting 284 feet per second. So, you know, with an arrow that's just shy of 500 grains, doing 284, I'm really happy with this setup, especially as I get into the big game season. I am going to do a follow-up video with a second bow that I'm going to build, which is just going to be a Defiant 34, and I'm going to build it with a little bit lighter arrow. But the reason for that is I'm a big security blanket guy. I really believe in having a secondary backup if you can't afford to have a backup, or you just, it's not in your cars. I really encourage you to have a backup set of string and cables, and we'll go down the list on some of the other items that you really need to have to be able to switch that stuff out in the event that something happens. So that custom build on that Defiant 34, I'm gonna really go custom on it and go off the deep end and shaker can that bow probably, and just make it my own. But that being said, I'm gonna have, as I shoot that bow some alongside this one, I'm gonna try to really do some group testing and shooting downrange and see which bow seems to group better for me and shoot better for me. Because even though this setup is really ideal for me for big game elk specifically, I've got a lot of tags that I may draw that are in that mid-size game range, of which that longer third of my effective range could potentially come into play on a few of those situations. So I really want to make sure that either bow that I choose for some of those hunts is the right bow for the application. So I hope you enjoyed these videos. Like I said, this is just kind of a recap, follow-up video on this specific bow build. We do have some other content coming forward that I encourage you to check out. Lastly, Alpha Bow Hunting Challenge. If you're in the Denver area, April 29th, it's coming up. It's 2017, depending on when you see this video. Encourage you to come down and play. If not, check out alphabowhunting.com for an upcoming event near you. So that's all I've got. Once again, I'm Phil Mendoza. Dream big, shoot straight, and we'll see you on the next video.